So you made a model of an apartment in Blender using Archimesh and you want to see some realistic lighting effects. So you made a point light source to simulate a lamp, and you also have a sun light source to simulate the sunshine, and maybe you also have some ambient lighting. So you turn on the rendering engine, the cycles engine, which is doing ray tracing, but now you can see that the sunlight is actually shining through the rooftop. Of course, if you just add a simple rooftop, then you won't be able to see what's going on inside the house. So you can do a semi-transparent rooftop in which the material is based on a mix shader. The mix shader is mixing a diffuse BSDF or whatever shader you want your ceiling to look like from the inside, basically, with a transparent BSDF, which will let the light pass through without any obstacle. And the factor in this mix shader is driven by the isCameraRay output from the light path node. This way, the cycles rendering engine can let the light rays pass through from the inside to the camera that is outside, but will block all the lights that are trying to go inside from outside from the light sources. So let's take a look at how you can achieve this in a little more detail. Okay, so here we have our little house, a little apartment made in Archimesh, and we want to see how the lighting affects our rooms here. So we should use the cycles and rendering engine for that, cycles. And if you have a GPU that you can use, you should turn on GPU compute. And then we will go to the viewport shading here. And as you can see that because my light source is a point type light on the left hand side, so the left hand side rooms are illuminated a lot more than the right hand side rooms. Some people might want to just turn off the lights or just not have a light source and have this shading editor. So this is the shader editor here. Turn on shader editor and world. So we can change the world around our object. So maybe you want to turn on this to have a white light. And now you will have light coming from all directions. But this is also, of course, not ideal because in reality we have a light source that is coming from one direction, which is the sun. So let's find our light source again. And let's switch it to a sun type. So for that, I need to go down here for the object data properties, and light will be turned to sun here. So once it's turned to sun, the light source is placed an infinite distance from our object, and the light rays are coming like a parallel ways. So this is too intense. Let's turn it down to maybe 1 or 2, I guess. For point light source, you need to have high numbers, but the sun works better with smaller numbers, maybe 1.5, I don't know which is the better. We can just turn off the background here totally. So now we only have the light coming from our sun here, and you can see that now the light shines through the windows here. But we have a problem now. The light is also coming through the rooftop. So how can we salvage the situation here? So one of the things you might want to do is, well, I have this roof object. This will like keep out the light. So let's try to get inside our room here and then turn on the viewport shading now. Then we have the roof above our heads. Only light is coming in through the window. So now we can see how the window affects the light. But this is very clunky and you cannot see the whole house in once, which is something that you might want to do. So let's do that. And for that we will have to go back to our shader editor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this roof in the exact same position. So I just press 0 and enter after D. So D, 0 and enter is a duplicate and the same position. Let's switch this to roof-light. Let's go back to the regular shading so that our GPU can take a rest here. And we are going to create a new material here. So I removed the material with the minus sign. I will click new to add the new material. I will name this roof semi-transparent. And what I'm going to do here is in my shader editor, I'll change this to object. So now we are editing the roof dash semi dash transparent thing here. So I remove whatever was here, add a new shader, and the new shader will be shader, and this will be a mix shader. So what we are going to do here is we're going to mix a regular shader with a transparent shader. So you can add any type of shader. I just generally use this diffuse. This is going to be a white. You can change the color, of course, here for diffuse shader. And the other one we will add is transparent BSDF. And this should be white because every color should be properly transparent here. So if I turn on the shading here, we can see that now some of the light is blocked by our roof. So our roof is now 50% transparent, but this is not what I want. What I want is I want to see what's behind the roof. So I want the roof to be transparent for my camera, but I also want the roof to be 100% opaque for the light coming from the sun. And for that, I need to manipulate this factor over here. And to manipulate this factor, we will add a new node here, which is an input node. And amongst the input node, we need light path. And this is camera ray. So it's not a name, camera ray camera. That would be a good name. But this will basically tell us whether the ray during the ray tracing is coming from the camera or not. And as you can see now, it's totally opaque. So maybe I need to put the transparent on the second input and the diffuse on the first input, and voila. So now we can see through the roof, but the sunshine, the light does not get through the roof. So if we go back to the world here and we add, let's turn this to white background light. So maybe we want to add some background illumination, just some diffuse illumination coming from everywhere, because in real life, of course, the sun is going to be reflected from a lot of places around our apartment. So there will be some diffuse background. We can add that, and we can see now that the diffuse light is also coming through the windows. And of course, this is getting more and more difficult for our poor GPU to calculate. There is only one room that is perfectly dark, which only has a door. So let's open this door. Can I open this door here? Yeah, and as I open the door, some light gets in there, but not much. And so this is how it looks like. And we can see that even this door has a window on it, so there is some light coming in there. We can check out how changing the angles of the sun will change the effect on our little house here. So of course the ambient light is not affected by the sun at all, but this side we get a lot of light directly from the sun. So this is how it will be illuminated. We can add additional lamps into our house if we want. So let's move my 3D cursor somewhere reasonable. Where is my 3D cursor? 0, 0, and maybe 0. Or maybe it's like 2 meter high, so near the roof. Well, let's put this lamp into our dark room here. So let's Shift A and add a light, point light. And now we have a point light in that room. Let's turn off the ambient light. So we can see now how this point light illuminates the other room through the open door. Very neat. We can play around with this. And of course, you can not only just use this for a room, you can use it for any kind of a complex structure where you want to show how the light paths are affecting visibility inside while you are looking at the whole object from the outside. And let's make sure that our roof actually, so let's switch this back from world to object. And if I change my diffuse BSDF here to maybe red, now you can see that because of our roof is actually red, there is some kind of the reflection of this red light on everything. So if maybe I can turn if I go to the room, and the room has a floor, so if I change my floor to be fully reflective, which we can do with a shader, which is a glossy shader with 0 roughness. So I make this floor fully reflective. Now we can see the reflection of our red roof over there. If I give my roof some kind of pattern, that will be reflected there, of course. So we can see this is a reflection because maybe we need a little more light over here. So let me move my additional point light to the other room. So you can see now that actually this is a reflection because it reflects the bed, it reflects the other wall. So you can see that this reflects the redness on our rooftop. So let's stop this abomination here and switch back our regular. Let's switch back to our regular floor. Still and then maybe we want to switch back our ceiling to a more tolerable color. If we want to see how one specific light source would affect illumination in our apartment, what we can do is we can, of course, just turn off the sun. So we select the sun, switch the strength to 0. Our background illumination is also set to 0. Our point light is placed where we want it to be placed, and maybe we want to open a door here. So let me just rotate this so I actually see the door. When I'm trying to click as much as I need to select it, and now we open the door. Maybe it opens in this direction, maybe it opens in this direction. And let's move the screen around with our middle mouse button here a bit. And now we can see how the light is escaping this room to the other rooms. And you can, of course, put all the light sources wherever you would put a lamp in these rooms and see how the changing positions affect the lighting. So of course, if we get this point light and move it to this room, in our bathroom, I guess this would be the bathroom with no windows. Okay, end of the video. If you enjoyed it, why don't you give me a like, subscribe for more content, and I will see you next time. Bye!